It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. We'll teach you how to shoot. We'll teach you how to light. Teach you how to mic and edit right. Each second Saturday there's a free training, from programs on display to focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. Second Saturdays at 12 o'clock in Studio A.
Hi guys, my name is Regan Roberts and I am a member of the board here at Thurston Community Media. And today I will be teaching the October second Saturday class on Snapchat. So before we get started, I do just want to give a little brief. We're going to go over a lot of stuff today. You will not remember everything I say. You don't need to remember everything I say. So if at any point you start to feel overwhelmed or like this is too much information coming in at once, don't worry about that at all. You are going to get enough to get yourself started on Snapchat and to know how to use Snapchat. But just like anything else, the more you use it, the better you're going to get at it. The more you play around with it, the more familiar you're going to get, the more you're going to be able to do. So if at any point you feel overwhelmed or hopeless, just don't. So Snapchat is an app. It's a social media app. So you can get it on your Android or your iPhone or an iPad or a tablet. But you can't use it, for example, like on a laptop or a PC. It's an app. It's a social media app. It is a little different than other ones where Snapchat you can do texting, pictures, and videos, and they will self-delete after a certain amount of time. The purpose of that is so that it doesn't clog up your memory or just cluster up your photos, your camera roll. It's to keep your phone free of space. So it is not created to send secret things or things you don't want anybody to ever know were sent, because nothing is actually fully private. People can screenshot your stuff or take a picture or film it with like a second camera. So the purpose of Snapchat is just to keep your camera or your iPad or tablet from using up all of its memory. That's why things self-delete. So, like I said, Snapchat is an app. If you already have it and you want to follow along, I say open it. If you don't have it, you can download it and go through it with me. And of course, you can also just follow along without Snapchat. The app you can find in your App Store. I don't know if they call it Google Play for an Android, but it's going to be this yellow ghost, and it's free if you want to download it. And when you do that, it's going to take you to a screen. We already went over that. That's going to look like this. It's real simple. It's literally only going to ask for your email. You're going to need to create a password, and then it's going to want your birth date. Your birth date is not going to be visible at all. It's literally just because you have to be 13 years or older in order to have a Snapchat account. That's why it's asking that. If you are 12 or under and you download Snapchat, it'll just give you a restricted version of Snapchat where you can still take pictures and videos, but you cannot send them and you cannot receive pictures or videos from other people. But you can still play around with the fun filters that it has. So, email, password, birth date. When you fill those in, it's then going to want you to verify your account. It's going to ask you something that's going to look similar to this, where here it says, select all images containing a ghost. This is the Snapchat ghost. So on this one, there's 1, 2, and then there's more down here. I think there's 4, because there's 4 that are highlighted. You would just select them, and then it'll send you a 6-digit verification code. It'll ask you if you want it to be text to you or to call. If you're doing it right now, I suggest doing the text. You could just copy and paste it or just remember it in your brain. Punch it in, and then you can open your Snapchat, and it's going to ask you for permission for your contacts. I say hit OK. This is so that it can tell you who in your contacts is on Snapchat and you can add them. You can say don't allow and you can manually add people, but you know, if you really want to go through and manually add people one by one, that is not fun. But you can do that. So I say okay. There's no risk in doing that. And then you will be ready to start. So when you open Snapchat, it's going to open to the camera, always. It'll just be black here, and it'll have the camera here. And you're going to want to go to your home page. You know what, let's just use the phone for this. All right, so when you open Snapchat, there it is. This is all you're going to see. You're not going to see my email on top. But this is what you're going to see. This is your camera. So up here should be a little yellow ghost. Touch him, he'll take you to your home. And that's what your home looks like. Nobody else can see this, only you can see this. So when you first set up your Snapchat, you see down here it has added me, add friends, and my friends. So added me is just if somebody has added you, that's where you would find out. And it'll let you know if people have added you. And you can be like, oh, I know that person, and you can add them back. Add friends is pretty self-explanatory. You just click on that, and you can look for people by their username. You can look in My Contacts, which is going to be the contacts you have on your cell phone, if you have given it permission. You can look by a snap code, which is by scanning somebody else's snap code, meaning taking a picture of theirs. Or you can look for people nearby, or you can send your username. Quick Adds we'll go over later, but those are just suggested ones. And then none of this you really need to know, but here it'll show your Snap name. Mine is Regan.Roberts. If you want to practice Snap today, add me, and we'll go through it together. It's Regan, REGAN.Roberts. The number here doesn't matter. That just says how many snaps you have sent. To date, I've sent 23,035 snaps. So what you want to do is hit this little wheel up here. This is going to take you to settings. I suggest you do this when you first open your account. The default settings should be just what you want, but I would suggest scrolling down to Manage and make sure that the filters are enabled. Mine are. They're turned on. Make sure your filters are enabled unless you hate filters, but that's one of the main perks of Snapchat. And then look at the Who Can. This is what you're going to want to see if it's what you prefer. So it's who can contact me, who can send me notifications, who can view my story, and who can see my location, and who can see me in Quick Add. So as you can see, I have pretty much everyone can contact me, send me stuff, view my story, but for my location, only my friends can see my location. That's something I have a little more private, and you can set this also to no one. Quick Add is a yes or no. So I'd do that before you do anything else, and then you will be ready to start snapping. Nice. We did the settings. We're gonna start snapping. So, like I said, Snapchat is pictures, videos, and then you can add filters, locations, time, and temperatures to it. It is for social media, meaning you can send them to and from your friends. This is great for people like me. I'm a transplant to Washington. I'm from Colorado. Snapchat is one of my main ways I stay connected with my friends and family in Colorado. On a day-to-day basis. I have been trying really hard to get my dad on Snapchat, and he just won't do it, but I really wish he would. So Parents, I really wish you would be on Snapchat. To take pictures, so here's your camera. You see at the top, that shows your camera. That's just to flip it. To selfie, not selfie. Selfie, not selfie. You just tap that, you can flip it. This is your flash. Mine's off, mine's always set to off. But you can have it set to on, auto, or off. This is like the regular settings on your camera. This little moon will only appear when you're in a dark setting. And if you tap that, it's just going to utilize all the light to brighten up the picture. But still, if you're in a pitch black room, you're still not going to see anything because there won't be any light for it to use. And then at the bottom there, that's just your camera button. So that is how you would take a picture. You would just snap that. So let's plug it in. Here's my camera. Let's take a picture of that. Boom, so I just took a picture. There's my first snap picture. So when you take a picture, you see all these things pop up. The top here is for text. You can write on your picture if you want. You can just touch the picture and a little text box will pop up and you can write whatever you want, like first snap ever. Whenever you're done typing, you can just hit done. And it'll stay in that gray box. Now, if you want to hit the text a few times, it'll pop it out of the box. And you see this color thing pops up. You can change the color of the words if you want to get, you know, like super fancy and creative and put a lot of time into your snap. You can do that, and you can drag it by just putting your finger on it and dragging it around wherever. You can shrink it by squeezing it. You can blow it up. You can turn it. You can do whatever you want. Under the text is a marker. It's similar, but you just draw. So you open that up. Same thing. You can change the color. And you can just draw. Now, I never use the marker, but see, you can just draw. If you don't like it, there's a little undo right there. And he will undo the last thing you did. So if you did multiple things, he just undoes them one at a time. He's the eraser. Like I said, I never use the marker, but I know people that will draw like full-on pictures. They'll take a snap of themselves and they'll have on like a hat and glasses and they'll be holding like a fake drink. People get really creative with it. Underneath, there's a little emoji. You can click on that if you'd like, and it just pops up a handful of emojis. If you select them, everywhere you touch, they appear. And you can undo them with the same little undo button. Underneath the marker, you have this little square. That's just more emojis. If you wanted to add more on, same concept. The scissors. Now, the scissors are really best for video, but it just kind of, it doesn't remove anything from the picture. It just cuts it out and pastes it right on top. So it's really more for video. But you can kind of see how it's now like cut out. The paper clip is to add on a URL. So here I have Thurston Community Media. It just shows up there because I've used it before. URLs you've used will start getting stored in here just for easy access. But you just select the one you want to add. It's going to bring it up, tcmedia.org. Here is our TC Media cell phone thing, and I can say, yep, that's the one I want. I just hit attach snap. You're not going to see it, but your recipient will. Because he's highlighted, you know I got something attached. This is a stopwatch. It only appears on your pictures. You're going to want to set this time. Whatever you set it to, it'll stay there until you change it. Now, I suggest, I'm not sure what the default setting is. I know it used to be 3 seconds. I think 3 seconds is not enough to view a picture ever. So I suggest putting it on 10 seconds or no limit. What this means is whoever receives it, the picture will self-delete. After 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. Or no limit means whenever they close out of it, that's when it deletes. That's what I suggest, because especially if you have writing or a link on your snap, or even just a lot is happening, no limit, people need time to be able to understand what's going on. I have had tons of people send me snaps with like 3 lines of words and it deletes after 3 seconds. And I'll be like, I couldn't read half of that. So it'll still self-delete. You can save your pictures. Down here, little arrow. If you hit that, it saves this picture to your Snap album. And from there, you can export it to your camera roll if you want. But you can also just store them in your Snap album, and then you won't have to use up your phone storage. Just like if you have albums on Facebook, and there's a bunch of pictures in there, they don't have to be on your phone, so it's a great way to store. And this down here is a quick add to your stories, which we'll go over with videos. So whenever you're done with that, you can swipe left or right for filters, unless you've unenabled your filters. But by swiping, whoops, there we go. See, you can change it, make it darker, change the colors, black and white. Then it'll start, it shows the mile per hour. I'm going 0 miles per hour right now. Temperature, latitude and longitude, the time. Here it says, I mean, we're not at Comcast, but we're right next door. So Comcast is popping up Saturday. You know, there's just endless ones. This is a Geo one. It says Olympia. So when you go different places, here it says Saturday. There's another Olympia one. When you go different places, they will have the different ones for the town. There's another Olympia one. So you can only get these if you're in Olympia. If you drive out to Lacey, they will no longer be available. So if you want to use multiple filters, let's say you want to say is 143, and I want to say we're in Olympia. You just put your finger on your screen and hold it, and then keep swiping with your other one. And you can stack up to 3 different ones. It's Saturday, and we're in Olympia. When you're ready to send, you just hit the blue arrow. And what's going to pop up are the people in your contacts. So it'll say, it calls them best friends. Best friends is just the most recent people you have snapped. It pops them up for easy access. And then it goes down to more recents. And then it will just go to your contacts in alphabetical order. You can quickly jump to people by using the alphabet here. If you're just like, I want to send a snap to William and I don't want to scroll all the way down, you just hit the W, it'll just go shoo, all the way down. You can also search for people's names up here at the top. You could just type in their name and it'll just jump to them. And you can send your snap to as many people as you want at a time. There's no limit. You could just select them all and just hit send. I'm going to abandon that. So if you don't want to do it, as you see, you just hit the X. It's like, are you sure you don't want to keep this? You can say, yeah, I just received a snap. All right. Is that up on the screen? Good. Pictures. So with the, here's a collage I made with just the different geo filters you use. It's just an example of when you go different places, it'll bring up different ones. So you see there was like Honolulu, that's Capitol Hill, Aurora, Colorado, Tukwila, that's over by Seattle, Inglewood. Let's see, we got Laramie, Wyoming, Denver. So see how everybody has Lincoln, Nebraska? They have their own ones. They're all different. Here's Portland, Casper, Wyoming. That's just Starbucks in North Platte, Nebraska. So different businesses have those ones. So you can, you know, take your picture and then be like, this is where I got this amazing drink if you want it. It's at Starbucks, and now everybody knows. So you can only use those when you are in the little geo radius for them. All right, opening and sending snaps. So you took your first picture. I'm probably the only one in your contacts. Hopefully you sent it to me. And it's going to take you to this screen. Let's go on my phone so I can show you a quick way to get to this screen. Every time you open Snap, it'll be on your camera. At the bottom here is your chats. This is your stories, which we haven't got to stories yet. But you go to your chats, that's where you can see where you have sent and received things. So all the arrows are what you've sent. Arrows are what you put out. All the squares are what you got in. It's okay if you don't remember that. It doesn't matter. But that's what that means. And you see there's different colors. The different colors have meanings, but you don't really need to know that either. It's just blue is text, red is no audio, and purple is with audio, but it really doesn't matter. There's also green for sending money, and gray is for pending, which means you send something to somebody who can't yet receive it because they haven't added you yet on Snap. So the cool thing about it, the only thing you really need to remember is if it's colored in or not. If it's filled in, that just means it hasn't been opened. So you see this one is empty. It was opened an hour ago. That was an arrow, so I sent it. This is another one I sent. It was delivered an hour ago, but they haven't seen it yet. Delivered. And then the ones that I received, the squares, they also say received and the time I opened it. So it's okay if you don't remember the difference between the shapes. It doesn't matter at all. Because it also just says if you need to know. You see on the right there's emojis. You don't need to remember those either. They don't matter. But they do have meanings. Snap just does it automatically. I have a lot of little blushy smiley faces. That's just people that I communicate with regularly through Snap, and they communicate with me back regularly. That's all it means. And they have all different ones. They have the dude with the sunglasses. They have fire. They have hearts. And they all have different meanings just about who you contact the most. And it just doesn't matter. So whoever you send snaps to, that's where you'll find it. You will find it in the chat section. It is also where you can text people through Snap. Now, just like with the pictures, when you live text, the text does delete after the person closes out. So if you are having a text conversation and you close out of the app and come back to it, it'll just be blank. Again, the point of it is to save your phone from clogging up. It's not to send really mean texts or whatever, because again, they can be screenshot and they can be saved. You can't really see on this screen, but some of them are saved. So this is an actual Snap text conversation I had with my friend here. It says me, so that's me. On yours, me will be you. I say, hey girl, she says, hey you. I said, how's Cali? Because she lives in San Diego. She said, it's beautiful. Sun has been out all day. How's Washington? I said, not as beautiful as you. That's just an example. You can't see it, but in order to save any of these messages, you just hold it down, and it'll save it, and it'll highlight it in gray. And it'll say, saved. And then you can hold it down again, and it'll say, unsaved. You know what? No, you're not going to be able to see it on the phone. So I recommend saving text. If you're going to exit out, just save the last one, because there's definitely been times where somebody has sent me a text responding to something I said, and I'll be like, what are they talking about? They'll just be like, yeah, I think it's good. And I'll be like, you think what's good? Because I forgot what I asked them. Also, people can send you things like, hey, meet me Wednesday at this place and bring chips and dip. You're not going to remember all of that. So you just hold it down, save it. It saves it on your end and on their end. It's just saved for both of you guys to see. And you can unsave it at any time. This is something you don't have to remember, but down here you just see my friend's little emoji. This little emoji is crouching down. When she's typing, it'll bounce. So just like on an iPhone or in Facebook Messenger, how they have the little text box that pops up and when people are typing, the emoji just bounces. If they don't have one, it'll just be a little yellow smiley face emoji that'll just bounce when somebody's typing. So you'll just know that they're about to respond. So you can live text through that. And then when you have the text box, you see it pulls up these different things. This is your photo albums. You could click on that if you want to send your friend a picture from your Snap album or from your phone's camera roll. Next to it is a phone. You can tap on that if you want to call them. You can make phone calls through Snapchat. They're free. It will ring. The other person's phone will ring like a normal phone and show you so-and-so's calling you from Snapchat. It's just audio. That's great if you have limited minutes or you're out of minutes or you don't have a phone number at all. The middle button is the camera. Next to it is a camera to do video phone call, like a FaceTime, and Facebook Messenger also offers it. This is for video phone calls. So you can do that through Snapchat, which is great if you don't have an iPhone with FaceTime. And then the last one is the smiley face. That's just for emojis. If you like to use emojis, you just go to the emojis. Am I moving too fast for you guys? Okay. Feel free to ask me to repeat anything. All right, we're going to move on to videos now. So videos are, once you know pictures, you're going to know videos. Uh-oh, it's not changing. There it goes. All right. So the maximum limit for a video on Snapchat is 10 seconds, just like with the pictures. But you can continue filming up to 40 seconds, but it will break your video into 4 videos of 10 seconds. Then you'll have to send them or delete them before you can film more. How you film is you take your normal screen. Just like when you take a picture and you touch that middle button, you just hold it down. And when you hold it down, it'll start circling. You see a little red? So now it's filming. It'll film up to 10 seconds. And then if I keep going, it just breaks it into a second video. So there's the first video just popped up. Filming the lights. And I keep going. That's great. There's my hair. There's me. Here I am. So now I'll just stop right there. So now I got 3 videos. So as you see, it's similar with the pictures. You can do the texting, you can draw, you can add an emoji, you can cut something out, which is better on videos. There's not a lot going on here. But whatever you cut out gets pasted over all of them. So let's see. Let's say I cut out part of my hair. Now it's pasted everywhere. And it just stays, and I can move it around, or I can throw it in that trash can right there. But scissors are just really great for the videos. And then there's the clip where you can add a link, and then say you're like, you know what? This last video is just nothing. I don't want it. You can delete any of the videos in any order. You can delete the first one, the middle one, it doesn't matter. But you just hold it and drag it to the trash can. Boom. Gone. Something that's unique to the videos is the volume. So there's a speaker down there. My volume is on. If you want to send a video without audio, you just click. Here where it's X'd out, I can turn the audio off. So if I'm sending a snap to somebody, but I'm not trying to send, the conversation that's happening, I just turn it off. Or if I'm just somewhere that's noisy, the sirens or whatever, and it's annoying, you just turn the volume off. And then you see there's some other ones. This is to change your voice. There's a chipmunk, a bear, a robot, and an alien. It's pretty self-explanatory. The chipmunk is going to make your voice really high and squeaky. The bear is going to be really deep. The robot is going to literally make you sound like a robot, and the alien will make you sound like an alien. And whenever you're ready, you just hit the arrow, and then again, you can just send it to whoever, as many people as you want. And you can put it on your story in our story. So what are the stories? The best way to explain a story is your story is it's kind of like your personal newspaper that lives for 24 hours, or like your little personal reality show that lives for 24 hours. Meaning anything you post to your story will be on your story for 24 hours since you last posted it. And then it will self-delete itself. You can go in manually and delete it sooner than that if you want, but it will only live for 24 hours. So anybody who watches your story, which whoever can watch it, that's set in your settings. It's usually just your friends. They'll just see whatever you've posted in the last 24 hours. Now, our story is different because it's always public. You can't change the settings on that. Our story is the Snap community story. It's our story. So sometimes they have specific themes. This one doesn't. It just says our story. But it'll tell you if it has a specific theme on it. I'll give you an example. Snapchat is the one that does the themes. You can't create those. So here you see, well, you can't really see it, but it says our story and it says treat yourself Friday the 13th. This was from yesterday. So anything yesterday you added to this story would go public to this story, treat yourself Friday the 13th. So you should add things that have to do with Friday the 13th and the ways you're celebrating Friday the 13th, and then other Snap people can view that specifically themed story. So my story, that's more of your private. Our story is public. That's important to remember. And then other than that, when you've been posting your stories, without having to switch. All right, so here's your camera. When you open Snapchat, it's on the camera. Chats, stories. That's your chat history. This is where all the stories live. So when you hit that button, it'll go to the stories. Scroll back. So this is what mine looked like yesterday. This was my story. It'll always be at the top. And then recent updates, these are the people in my contacts who've just recently posted stories. They're just in chronological order. So the top one, you can't see it because it's too bright, but Lydia had posted 2 minutes ago, Jordan's was 8, Taylor was 35, Melanie was 36, and so on. So it just, whoever has added something most recent will always jump to the top. You can watch these stories as many times as you want until they self-delete. You can watch them over and over and over and over. So if something's really funny, you can just keep watching it over and over for the next 24 hours. With your story, at the top, you can also watch your story as many times as you want as well. You can go in and edit your story at any point. If you posted something that you don't want posted, you can go in. So here's stories. Here's my story. If I hit these 3 little squares here, it's going to display out my story per snap in chronological order. So I can look back and be like, oh, what? I don't know. Did I actually post that? Oh, yeah, I did. I posted that. On the right here, you see an eyeball with numbers. That just shows you how many people have viewed your snap, not how many times they've viewed it. There's no way to see that, but you can just see who. The more you post stories, the more people watch them, just like anything else. And if you want to see if somebody watched a specific one, you can just go in. Let's see. This little arrow down here. See, it shows you, well, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's an eyeball. It says 35. That's how many. There's 0 replays. I can delete it if I hit the trash can. I can save it if I want by hitting the save. And I can hit the arrow up to see who specifically actually watched my story, if for whatever reason you want to know. I don't really look at that, but it just shows who has watched your story. And they'll be your friends. So there shouldn't be anybody that you don't want watching your story, because it'll be the people that are in your friend list that can view your story. Our story is public. Your story is private to you and your friends. I just post normal things that I do throughout the day, things that I would want to share with my friends and family. That's what most people post. Some people post what they eat, you know, stuff like that is great for my story. Facebook Messenger also has stories, as well as Instagram. So it's a pretty popular thing. We're doing really great on time. Actually, let's leave this on the phone. Yes. All right, you open it, it always goes to the camera. Now on videos and pictures, if you just hold your finger down on the camera before you use it, it's going to bring this up. You see all these? These are the additional filters and audio things, which you won't be able to hear. But if you swipe through them, let's see. It's gonna do weird things like that. And you just keep swiping. As you can see, that one put ears on me. This one made my mouth and eyes really big. And they just go on and on. Now these change. Snapchat does these. You don't create them. You can use them for videos or pictures. This is a Halloween themed one, as you can tell. So yeah, there's just tons. That's just a normal filter. There's that, there's that. Yeah, so this feature is available on the Snap Kids. That's what they love to play with. And these will change your voice as well. Okay, yeah. So they just do tons of stuff, and you can go to different ones. Select all the different ones. So some people will go as far as making different characters. So different filters will represent different characters, and they'll play out little stories if you have time. It's just a fun thing to do. So you can take a picture like that, and you can still do all the other filters. And texting and blah 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 blah. And cutting things out. Make it weird. And hearts. So whatever. I honestly don't normally go this crazy with my snaps. I keep it pretty simple. But there's just tons of options. So don't feel overwhelmed. I usually keep it pretty simple. But you can play around with it a ton, and you can send it to people, or you can just save it. Save to memories. So how you access your saved stuff is, if you want to get rid of that, the X on the bottom gets rid of all my options if they're just in your way. Chats, stories in the middle of your albums. If you click that, so here it says snaps. This is my Snap album. These are just pictures I have saved on Snapchat, so they just automatically go in my Snap album. Did you see earlier I took one of the sign outside, and it has the time, but you can't see the time. You can go to camera roll. That's going to be your phone. There's the pictures saved on my actual phone. Snaps, camera roll. Snaps, camera roll. So you can switch between the two really easily. So if I have a picture I took on my camera and I want to send it through Snapchat, I can just select it. As you can see, I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I can hold it with my finger, and I can say edit, and it brings up all this stuff if I wanted to add things to it. And then I hit the arrow, and I can just put it on my story, or I can send it to friends. That's from my camera roll. There's the snaps in my camera roll. I can do the same thing where I can select them from my Snap album, tap the screen. It's export is where you can save it to your camera roll, or you can put it in a text message or wherever. You could text this picture to somebody, you could email it, I could tweet it from there, I could stick it on my notes, I could put it on my Facebook, I could snap it to somebody, as you see, Instagram, Messenger, all these different options. I can save it, which will just go to my phone camera roll. Tons of quick and easy ways. Whoops. I could delete it off my Snap album, I could lock it, I could edit it, which means I could just add more effects to it, and I can just send it again as a Snapchat to somebody or put it in my stories. So that's from your photo albums. Snaps, camera roll, snaps, camera roll. So you can just save. I usually just save all my snaps in here. And as you see, as I scroll, it says October and then September. So it's an easy way to stay organized. If I want to jump really far, I can hold that down and just, whoops. There we go. All the way to like last year. And now it's bringing up my cameras there. You can see I brushed my hair out. That was back when it was 46 degrees outside. Yeah, so this is like from a few years ago. And then I can just jump all the way back. All right, let's go back to the computer. All right, went over stories. So, that was just the social media part. Moving on, Snap also offers news and top stories. When you go to your camera, you know what, I'll scroll up so I don't have to unplug this again. Every time you open it up, it'll be on your camera. At the top of your camera, you see you have these. You have a search bar. If you just tap that search bar, it's going to take you to this screen. Your news and top stories. So this was from yesterday. So yesterday, the breaking news is always at top. It's Northern California's Fires Day 5. The most recent one that was added an hour ago in California. Now, all the top stories are submitted by fellow Snap users that have submitted it to our stories, because our stories are public. I'll just do it live. Search. There we go. Same thing. Nope. Whoops. Oh, mine doesn't have the breaking news. Well, we'll use yesterday's then. But yeah. So if you tapped on this, it would just start playing a stream of all the Snapchats that people in Northern California had posted of the fires. I watched it. It was actually pretty intense. So that's just from local people. Under breaking news will be top stories, and there will be tons of them. You just scroll left and right. And these are the ones that have the themes. So here you see, it has the themes listed. This is where people have posted to our stories, and it was given a specific story. Let's see. I have current top stories on mine. This is the main way I get my news. So here's today, August 14th, top stories. The most current one we have here is Colorado versus Oregon. So that's a football game. We have a music festival, and you can just scroll. Orlando Pride Parade. And if you're like, oh my gosh, like, I totally love that, I want to watch it, you can just click on whichever one you want. And like Cake Fair. And it'll just be a series of snaps that people posted. Wow. Cake Fair looks amazing. So this is something somebody posted at Cake Fair. There's a speaker. You see here, they're in Orlando, Florida. They posted that 6 hours ago. In the public, our story, Cake Fair. Ooh, that's edible. Wow. If you ever just want to skip a snap, you simply just tap your screen, and it'll automatically go to the next one. Tap your screen, it'll automatically go to the next one. And so on and so forth. So there's Cake Fair in Orlando, Florida. You can watch it forever, or when you're done, you just swipe down, and it goes back. So that's stories. You can watch as many as you want. This one's a concert. And they just go on and go on and go on and go on. So that's our stories will go into those places. That's where you watch them, under top stories. And this is stuff happening all over, not just the nation, but also worldwide. There's, from different events and festivals happening in other countries. They'll have them, and so it's really fascinating watching the way people celebrate things all around the globe. So you can have a lot of fun under top stories through your search bar. Below your top stories, it's going to say around me. And then you can scroll left or right to all these different topics. Travel, attraction, animals, lens, food, nightclubs, bars, like it just keeps going. Fashion, sports, music, highlights, and then it gets back to around me. It's pretty self-explanatory. Around me, these are literally public snaps, meaning they've been posted to our story. So your fellow Snap community posted these from these different places. It's going to be the ones closest to you. So it comes up with the movie theater, the college, a park, another park, and the community college. And you can watch them if you would like. So this is great if you're like me and you're constantly on the go and you don't really know what's happening around you. You just pop it up and you can be like, oh, what's going on around me? Well, there's somebody at the theater. There's somebody else at the theater. But this is super great when there's events going on. If there was some sort of special event, oh, I know that girl. Some sort of special event going on around you, definitely put it on Snapchat, because then you can be like, oh my gosh, there's an event going on at the movie theater around me. I want to go.
Can you tell the difference between just a bunch of selfies and events?
You can't. So it's really just who posts them. So when you look at places like movie theaters or like a Dairy Queen, you're going to get more selfies than if you were looking at a place like the Capitol building, for example. So places where younger people tend to hang out, you'll get a lot more younger people posts. And you can skip through them. Let's see how the college students did. They're cussing, so but yeah, you can just tap them and skip through them. If it's stuff I don't know what she's saying, so we don't have audio. So depending on where you are and depending the Snap community is going to depend on those things. But it's great for all the other stuff too, like travel. Now, I use this a lot, not just to see what's happening, but when I go different places, I use it just to see like places I should visit. So it'll like give all these different things, like attractions. So I'm like, gosh, what should I do while I'm here in Washington? Oh, there's the Space Needle, there's the airport, Pier 59, the zoo, the merry-go-round. So it'll give you a list of attractions, and these change as you travel. So if I was in Oregon and I opened up this in Snap, it would have the places around me in Portland. And if I was in Florida, it'd have the places around me in Florida. And if I was in New York, so it's great to just see places you can go to. They have food is one of them. That's great because it tells you like the local places you can eat. And hopefully people have snapped pictures of the food so that you can see what kind of food, but you can just, see the atmosphere. And you can also just not watch them and just see, oh, here's the food around me. So I use these a lot in nightclubs and bars that are local to you. So this is all on here. If you keep scrolling down, you have Discover. Discover is under your around me's. Discover, they're like magazines. That's the best way to explain these. A lot of them are actually done by magazines. You'll have like Cosmopolitan, In Style, National Geographic, ESPN, CNN. These are all little articles that are usually videos with articles on them. MTV has one, People magazine. As you see, like it just keeps, so there's Food Network. So it's stuff like this. It's just like you can just read the article. It'll just stay until you're done reading it. You tap it. That's how you turn the page. You read the second page, tap it. You can just read. That's an ad. I'm think that's also an ad. But yeah, you can just read these articles. There's National Geographic. It's on Yellowstone volcano there. That's pretty cool. So there's audio too to this. We can't hear it, but yeah, these are just like media magazine articles that you can read. They're constantly updated. So every single day there'll be new articles for you to read. Wow. And that's an ad. So those are all under Discover. There's a ton if you just keep scrolling. There's really something in Discover if you like to read the articles for everybody. There's all different topics, from science to like pop culture, music, to sports, to politics. There's stuff in there for everybody. Under your Discover is going to be your quick ad, new friends, and contacts. So quick ad is just Snap suggesting people to you. It's just like, oh, hey, this person's in your contacts. Do you want to add them? Or you have mutual friends. Do you want to add them? I personally never look at quick ads. Snap does it automatically, but that's where it is, at the very bottom. And you can go to your new friends. And you can also access your contacts here, but there's other ways to do that as well. Snap has a semi-new feature called Maps. If you want to try and find your friends or just see what's going on in your community and you don't like using where we just were, if this is just like too much and you don't really like using this here, when you open Snap, go away. It's always on your camera. You can like pinch out, like you're zooming out. Wait, there we go. And it'll bring up a map. So this here is my Bitmoji, which we're not going to talk about today. That's a separate app. You can make them. But I'm this girl with the backwards at, so it instantly pulls up with where I'm at on the map. And anybody who's one of my friends who's in the area, it'll show. So it shows right here, one of my Snap friends is nearby. But there's, can you guys see these blue areas? That's areas where there's clusters of Snap stories. So if I want to see what's going on around me, this is great if there's stuff like a parade going on or some sort of event in your town going on. But you can touch any of those and watch the stories to that geographical area. So that was somewhere, southwest side Olympia. Looks like a gym. They didn't say what gym. That looks like a restaurant. But I can just see what's going on in my local area. And you can do this across the whole country. So you can shrink the map. Areas where it's real red like that, which is Seattle, so not surprised at all. That's just like tons and tons of snaps are happening right there that have been shared. So you can click on that and we could start watching them. That looks like, what is that? Is that the Glass Museum? Yeah, that's got to be the Glass Museum. They didn't say. Yep, this is, I'm assuming, the Glass Museum. And a dog, and just so on and so forth. So this is just local stuff going on. But you can also, you can go wherever you want. You can search for one of your friends by hitting the search in the top. Let's see where my friend, where's my friends? Where, oh, it's not bringing her up on the map. Let's see where, I don't know. Let's see where this person is. All right, they're in California. So it drops you down, it says they're in California, that's where they are. I could tap at the bottom there to write them, but I'm not gonna. And then if I wanna go back to where I am, you just hit this little compass. It'll shoot you right back to your local area. But sometimes it's fun just to go on the map and see what's happening in other places. Like I said earlier, I'm from Colorado, so I often just find Colorado on the map and I'll zoom in to my home and I'll just kind of see like what's going on in my home. Here's Red Rocks Amphitheater. That's an amphitheater in Colorado. So I like to just keep up on my Colorado events. So I'll do that, and you can watch things from all over. You can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. You go to New York, you can go to Florida, and you can just watch what your fellow Snap community is snapping. So see, there's our country right there. You see a lot of snaps are happening on the East Coast right now. And a lot of my friends are living up here right now. So that's maps. How you get out of it is you just hit that arrow at the top and it takes you back. And how you get to it is from your camera. Zoom out. Now it won't do it. Well, whatever. Come on, maps. There we go. Maps. Awesome. We are right on time. We went over around me. That's how you add them. All right, guys, the last thing, which is really just like an FYI, is you can do custom geo filters. The geo filters are the ones that say where you are, like the collage I made for the example. All of these, those are the geo filters. You can have custom ones made. It's about $5 to make one. You could submit one you already made, or you can create them at geofilters.snapchat.com. And then you can pay to use them for ever or just for one day. So they're really popular for things like a wedding, you know, like the Tanner Smith wedding, and then everybody can snap it and put that filter on there. Schools do them for prom. Concerts will do them often. Music festivals will do them and have them, you know, from like the geo filter will go live, say like July 1st, and it'll go off July 3rd after the festival. So you can do all of those custom ones here, and if you wanted to have one of your ads on Snapchat, that's also who you would contact to have your ads on Snapchat. So that's pretty much the basics of Snapchat. Well, that's our October 2nd Saturday on Snapchat. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys learned a lot and get started and have a lot of fun with your Snapchat and connecting with your friends and family through it. Thank you for watching the Second Saturday training show. You can watch the show on channel 77, Sunday at 3 p.m., Tuesday at 8 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., Saturday at 11 a.m., and 7:30 p.m. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm your host, Regan Roberts.
It's the TCTV training show. The TCTV training show. We'll teach you how to shoot. We'll teach you how to light. Teach you how to mic and edit right. Each second Saturday there's a free training, from programs on display to focusing and framing. It's the TCTV training show. The TCTV training show. You're watching TCTV. It's the training show. The TCTV training show. Second Saturdays at 12 o'clock in Studio A.